It's Yo Taylor back here at the Style Table on My Style Mondays. And today I'm with my guest, Sheena Yap Chan. She is a international speaker. She is a best-selling author and she's a podcaster with, I don't know, a gazillion followers. I mean, she does everything, and she is the unapologetic lady in red. So if you ever want to find Sheena, just look for the red. It says stop and look at me at all times. That red is her signature brand, her signature color. I love it. And Sheena, welcome to the show.
Hey, Yolanda. First off, thank you so much for inviting me as a guest. I feel so honored knowing that you invited me. Of course, I wanted to be here and kind of just talk about my journey. And, fashion is something that I'm not always knowledgeable, but I do know I stick, like you mentioned, I stick to one color that I do know that I use in everything, whether it's in business or personal. So, yeah.
I mean, but I love it. You know, people, I wear usually, I'm wearing red in your honor. And I always tell people color is, people always say, oh, I can't wear this color. I can't wear that color. Well, colors come in so many different shades. There's so many different tints and levels and layers to them. So people can enjoy them. This is the shade of red that I like for me. And I wear black, and I tell ladies who are like, oh, I kind of like black. We need to stop apologizing for wearing the color that we love. So, with that being said, we're going to talk to the lady in red. She's going to tell us right now about how she got started and what motivated you to get started and what's your passion.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everything really started, growing up as a kid here in Toronto. It's a very multicultural city, but I never saw anybody that looked like me on any form of media. So I always felt ashamed of who I was. I wanted to have blonde hair, blue eyes. I wanted to change my name to Heather to sound more Western. And it wasn't really until my 20s where I dyed my hair back from blonde to my original hair color where I really embraced my culture, right? I said, I'm Asian. This is it. And in 2015, when I was, looking for support systems that really catered to Asian women's confidence, because I was dealing with my own confidence issues, I couldn't find any. And so a part of me felt like maybe I was the only one dealing with that. But in our culture, we're not told to talk about our feelings or what we're going through. So, and representation was still very important for me because we were still lacking it in all forms. So I started my podcast called The Tao of Self Confidence, where I interview Asian women about their journey to self confidence. I've interviewed over 700 Asian women on this topic. It's gained 1.2 million downloads since I started. Um, but it was still something that there's still something missing, right? I mean, podcasting is a great platform, but it was still missing. I still want more visibility for Asian women, especially. And that's when I met Tam in the summer of 2020, and she started the book series. We co-created Asian Women Who Boss Up. And since then, we've been, working on the books together. And then, I've been doing a lot of, getting on speaking stages around the world, been able to be featured in different media platforms. And now I have an upcoming book under the same name as the podcast title that's coming out in May of this year. So, I'm really doing what I can to elevate women, especially Asian women, just because, especially after the pandemic with Stop Asian Hate movement, people don't realize Asian women are targeted 2.5 times more than men. When it comes to leadership roles, we have one of the lowest numbers in the United States, and it keeps declining. And
Oh,
so
wow.
it's really important to have better representation, have a stronger representation instead of the, negative stereotypes we still go through, right? So the upcoming book is about, talking about the things that hold us back, the trauma, the history, even the model minority myth, right? A lot of people think all Asians are successful, so we don't need any help. And because of that, we're not promoted as much. We don't get enough, we're like the last ones to get a business loan at a bank. And so these things really hurt us. So we have to learn to, you know, work on the things that's holding us back. Maybe it could be, something from our childhood, or people don't realize we also carry the trauma, not only our own traumas, but the traumas of our parents, our grandparents, and so on. So intergenerational trauma is really important to talk about as well. And so if we don't talk about these things or bring awareness to it, then we're not going to show up as our best selves, right? We don't want our traumas to control us. We want to be able to heal from it, and be able to control our own destiny. So, there's a lot of how-to leadership books out there, but no one really goes through, the core, the foundation of, getting out of our own way so that we can come up as our best self. So I think that's really important, because anything you do in life, it starts with your mindset, right? It's like you want to learn karate, but if you're not in the right mindset to think you're good enough to give the best kick, guess what? Even if I teach you 100 times, you're not going to give the best kick. So that's why your mindset is so important, working on yourself so that you can show up as your best self. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
So that is so awesome, you guys. Well, first off, I just have to say this. I have to give a shout out to my very first babysitter, whose name was Sheena.
Oh, nice.
And Sheena was the coolest chick ever. She had the biggest afro in the world. So just so you know, Sheena, I'm glad you didn't change your name to Heather, because has more of a reach than you think.
Aw, thank you.
Love that name. Love that name. So what you were saying about this the data and the information about Asian women, because there are people who don't know, who aren't really paying attention, because honestly, many of us, as a minority, myself, we're focused on what's going on in our own communities. And so you do lock into think, oh, well, they're fine, because, you're not thinking about them, because you're thinking about your own trauma, your own things that your culture has to overcome. But when you step back and you learn about other people and what they're going through, it helps you, when you interact with people, to have more of a lens of empathy, respect, not just tolerance, but empathy and respect. I've taught my son constantly, don't just tolerate somebody, but learn about them and respect them. So I love what I'm learning today, because we are learning, and this is Women History Month, and we're all about learning and sharing. We all have a lot of things. We have a lot more in common than we don't. I mean, look, Sheena, look, with the afro, Sheena and red. We all have a lot more in common than we think.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you this, because I think the new mayor of Boston, is she Asian?
Oh my gosh, I'm not big.
I think she's
I'm
an
not sure,
Asian.
to be honest. I apologize.
Listen, I should be too. I think she's an Asian American woman, young woman, and that's great. She's the very first, and it's very exciting to see. So there are strides, but it's still not enough. Not
Yeah.
enough representation.
Yeah.
So I get it. The numbers and the data that you're sharing with us is really, really shocking.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. And yeah, just because it seems like I'm talking to a specific audience, it doesn't mean people from other cultures can, relate to it, right? Like you mentioned, we may be different, but we go through similar things. And being able to work together is how we can solve the problems that's going on in the world, right? Instead of fighting each other, right? It's unfortunate that all these things are still happening, but I believe that when you're trying to go out there and do something for the good, there's always going to be a lot of pushback. So sometimes that's a good sign, right? It means that you are doing something, right? And so, yeah, the numbers are crazy. I don't even like the word minority, because it just sounds like a slap in the face. There's nothing
Yeah.
minor about you. There's nothing minor about me. I'd
Ooh, I
rather,
love that. I
yeah.
received that, and I will never use that again. No,
Yeah.
I received that. I received that. There's nothing
Yeah.
minor about you. I love it.
Yeah, because I always like, why am I a minority? Like, what makes me minor? Like, honestly, is it because I have smaller eyes? I don't know. Like, what makes me a minor? Like, what makes me? It just sounds really offensive. Like, there's something wrong with us because we're not considered the majority group, or whatever even that means, right? I mean, I start using the term underrepresented, because we're all underrepresented,
Yes,
especially women of color.
yes,
Women
yeah,
of color are underrepresented in all industries, right? And this is why confidence is so important, because you got to go out there and just make things happen, even if it's scary, even if you're the first one. And I've been through a lot of situations where it's like, this is so scary, to the point where I just want to puke out of anxiety. I don't know if you ever felt that way, but I have.
Yes, yes.
And this is why
Absolutely.
I wear red. This is why I wear the color red, because for me, the color red signifies confidence and courage. So even if I am feeling that anxiety of wanting to puke, at least I have something on that will help me build a little bit more confidence. And also in my culture, in Chinese culture, red is also a happy color. It's also the color for abundance. So I want to wear that, right? When it's someone's birthday, we wear red as a form of celebration. And so my aunts would always make fun of me. They're always like, "Is it your birthday today?" I was like, "No, it's my birthday every day." And they'd start
Ooh.
laughing.
So give me the gifts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, I really received that. I'm glad you said that. Um, you know, I'm like a person. I just look at the numbers. I'm like, we're like 12 or 13% of the population. So, for me, it was all from numbers. It's all a numbers game. But when you look at it from a different lens, like you just shared with us, yeah, there's nothing minor about me. I'm here. I belong here. I'm doing my part to serve others, and yeah, I should be valued. I think all women should be valued and respected. So yeah, there's nothing minor about any of us, right?
Of course not, especially on Women's History Month.
That's right. That's right. I love the whole thing with self confidence. Your book, Tao of Self Confidence, your podcast, that women, we suffer. I didn't realize how much. I've talked to like hundreds of women. I had no idea how many women I have talked to. It's been
Yeah.
such a journey with At the Style Table Show and My Style Mondays, and just this whole journey I've been going on in the last couple of years. Women, well, I was a flight attendant for 31 years, so I'm sitting on a jump seat with women from all over the world. We all suffer mainly from a lot of the same things. We're all going through the same thing. It's always some drama behind some man, somebody we're in a relationship with. We
Yeah.
all have the same emotions when it comes to that. We all have a lot of the similar reactions to things when people come at us in a wrong way. Many times we're all multitaskers. We are all doing a bazillion things at once, and we're good at it. We are good at it. But we do have to practice self care and taking the time to read your book and really meditate on and building your self confidence. I would say would be very good medicine in
Yeah.
in your red PJs.
Yes, of course. Yeah, and self-care is so important. That's stuff that was never taught in schools, right? Like self-love, self-care, mindset, personal development, which I think is very important. It's not just about math and science, but in the real world, personal development can go a long way, right? Especially, you go through 20 years of school and then they just put you out there and you don't even know where to go, how to prepare yourself. And so that's why personal development is so important. Working on your mindset, making sure you're taking care of yourself, you're not burnt out, taking care of your mental wellness, because that's also very important, right?
Yeah,
Mental health is a big taboo in our culture. Actually, it's a big taboo in a lot of cultures,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh
And
yeah,
so we have to normalize this, or else, there's going to be a lot of things. We're going to go through a lot of things. I mean, the pandemic was a big dent in the world, right? And it's a
yeah,
lot of people's mental health is suffering until now because of it. And so I'm very vocal about talking about mental health and being okay with looking seeking a mental health professional if need be. There's no shame in that. I know in our culture it's always been shameful. Most of them, they would just ignore the problem, or thinking that it will go away, or
yeah,
would do the total
yeah,
opposite, just kind of put them in an institution that's so that they don't have to deal with it. And it's unfortunate that still happens. But being able to have these resources or these talks about it, we can feel a little bit better, right? We can say, you know what, today I'm actually not okay, and it's okay to say that.
yeah,
Because because we're not always going to be 100% confident. I'm not 100% confident all the time. There's days where my mental health creeps up and I have to do something to take care of it, to maintain it, whether it's to go for a walk or to talk to somebody. I do it so that I at least I have an outlet to let it out instead of putting like keeping it in, because it's so important to just let it out, right? Just to even like go in the bathroom and just scream, right? It's just you need an outlet. You need something to let that all out so that new stuff can come in and you feel good as new.
I totally agree. I there was a time in my life where I felt like, some of the negative energy, even negative people, things that were happening to me, I said, I'm the common denominator. And what am I not doing? And that is taking care of me. So, I go get counseling, go talk to somebody that's not your friend. Your friends are always your friends and family like, we love, oh, you're the best. And what's wrong with you? You're great. What's the problem? But there are things that we haven't addressed or we've ignored or we didn't even know was even affecting us
Yeah.
in a way that that was maybe not making us be the best friend or the best family member or the best employee or business owner we could be. So I am a big proponent for coaches, therapists, psychiatrists, whatever level you need, get. I always say do that first before medications or anything like that. I don't, advise anybody, but I am a cheerleader for the mental health professionals and life coaches and there's anybody who can coach you to help you make your life easier and help you realize some of the things that you're find yourself on a hamster wheel with. And that's why reading books and taking that quiet time to read a book, especially one about self-confidence and building your self-confidence, from the eyes of somebody who's lived it, who's sharing their stories. That's what I think. I listen to a lot of books on Audible. Sometimes when uh, I can't sit still. I'm always buzzing around. I have ADHD, girl. I'm like all over the place. So it's like I'm doing a million things at once. Man, put that headset on and listen to that book. There are also apps that will take a regular book and translate it and read it for you. You can just listen to it even from the physical book. So there's also sorts of way to get that information, that positive information inside. Oh my gosh, this is good stuff. So now you are also work that women, Asian women who boss ups. It turned out it wasn't just one book.
Yeah, it became 2 books.
There were two books,
Yeah.
because Asian women wanted to tell their story. You know,
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Tam was like, "Let's make a book highlighting Asian women." I was like, "Yeah, why not?" I mean, at that time we were stuck at home. It was lockdown. And we were just committed. We were going to make it happen. So, the first one came out in February of 2021. It came out at the height of Stop Asian Hates. We didn't even know that was going to happen.
right?
And when the first book came out, they were like, "Are you going to make a next one? I'd love to be in the next one. Are you going to make a next one?" And so we decided to make another one. After 2, we realized, we don't need to state the obvious anymore. As women, they can be phenomenal, they can be inspiring, and they know that they're Asian, but just by seeing their face on the cover, right?
Right.
But at the time when there's no representation, you have to state the obvious because. Let's face it, we don't say Caucasian women who boss. Just
Right.
but
Right.
yeah, it sounds ridiculous, right? But for us, it just needed at that time. Now we
Yeah.
don't have to do that, right? We've been able to create it. We've been able to showcase, yeah, Asian women do boss up. Asian women can be bosses, right? It's just our culture never tells us to talk about it. They tell us to put our head down, never make any noise, just do as you're told. And especially after watching the Oscars and seeing Michelle Yeoh winning the first first Asian woman to win best actress, and even Ki Hui Kwan, who's America's most amazing comeback stories of all time, win supporting actor for the Oscars. Almost gave up acting I'm glad he didn't, because look where he is today. But seeing those opening the doors for our community, now seeing more movies highlighting Asian Americans, not just as the stereotype, but in different genres. If it's an immigrant Asian woman who's a heroine in the movie, or four girlfriends who are going to go to China, it's going to be a raunchy comedy. I mean, now it's showcasing different genres versus being the geisha or the sidekick, or whatever stereotype we were typecasted in Hollywood. Or now we're not being whitewashed. Our characters were
Right.
constantly whitewashed in Hollywood too. Unfortunately, that it's unfortunate that happened, but at least now they're not doing that anymore. So, I mean, this is why for me representation is so important, why media is so important, because being able to showcase that in different forms of media can change the narrative, right? Can dismantle the negative stereotypes. And being able to tap into different media platforms like books, podcasts, TV, speaking, it's allowed me to be seen in a different light. It's enabled to see Asian women in a different light, and other people can understand why we go through what we go through, right? Why we don't advance as much, why sometimes our history brings women down instead of lifting them up. We have certain traditions that we do that we never question, right? We just
Right.
do it. We're not
Right.
realizing, well, does this really benefit us or does it harm us, right?
Right.
And then of course, when you ask your relatives, they're like, just do it. And you're constantly asking why, and they're like, just do it. Stop annoying me. Just go ahead and do it,
Right.
not
Right.
knowing what the main reason was, right? Where did it originate from, and so on. So especially in Asian culture, there's so many things that you know Asian women in different countries had to go through, like in India and Korea and Vietnam. I mean, in India, child marriages are very prevalent. So is arranged marriages. Same thing in Korea, arranged marriages is prevalent. In the Philippines, human trafficking is prevalent. In China back then, you could have multiple wives and still have concubines, right? And the only reason was so that there was bigger chances for men to have a male child, because it was all about carrying the family name. So like these things harm women, right?
Right.
Seen
Right.
as We're just seen as like this commodity, right? Like we're just like a baby making machine versus like being treated as a human being. So yeah.
And being respected for your intellect, your power. Women are powerful. Women are powerful. I can't say it enough. We do so much. We're not even paying attention to all the stuff that we're doing. If we sat down, literally, ladies, if we sat down and wrote down everything we just did from the morning we got up to taking care of everybody, and then somewhere at the bottom of that list is our self care, ourselves, and appreciating and applauding ourselves. If people are too busy to applaud you, applaud yourself because you're doing the most. You're doing the most. I just really love this conversation. Um, it's so important. Um, it's open. I'm learning. I'm learning right now. And I'm glad you're sharing this so people in the audience who are watching this, they're learning something and they're going to read the book. And I'm also in one of the books. I'm in Inspiring Women Professionals Who Boss Up, coming near you. I'm so excited. I love being a part of the Women Who Boss Up series in the movement because it is a group of women from all lives, all backgrounds, all races, cultures, religions, everything. It's so cool because we all are so supportive of one another. And that's how it should be. That kind of energy is positive and it breathes life into and it inspires other women to say, you know what, I'm going to do this too. I want to do this. I want to make a change. I want to be a part of something that's great and positive and supportive. Um, it was just, and seeing you on stage internationally, you spoke in Paris, and uh, again, you inspired me to jump that hoop and do public speaking because it was always something that I was absolutely terrified. It inspired me to, go ahead and check that one thing off my bucket list that I kept saying, oh, next thing, next thing.
Yeah, but you were so great on stage, Yolanda. I mean, I was just so fortunate to be able to witness you go up there for the first time. I mean, you were just so passionate about your topic, and everyone loved it, right? And I kept telling you, you're gonna be fine, you're gonna do great, right? I'm always cheering you on, and just being able to see that was just amazing. And then to see your husband, who was just so proud of you, like everyone was like cheering you on, and that's why having the Women Who Boss Up movement is so important, right? It's not just being part of a book series. It really is being part of a movement, and being able to surround yourself with business women at a higher level so you can grow yourself, your income, and beyond, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I love about it, just the camaraderie, the sisterhood, because people don't realize collaboration is so important. Collaboration is what really does help you get to the next level. It's not doing everything by yourself. And men do it all the time. Men do it all the time. They collaborate on stuff. That's why they're able to advance faster than women. Especially the theme of Women's History Month is embrace equity. In order to embrace equity, we got to work together, right? I know women can get catty sometimes, and it's unfortunate that happens because we are part of the problem. And so that's why we got to work together. We got to collaborate. We got to do things together so that we can overcome some of these barriers. Because I don't think anybody wants to wait 130 years for gender parity. I definitely don't. So,
Yeah.
this is where collaboration kicks in. This is where women working with other women is so important.
It's absolutely, it is so important and it makes such a difference. I remember a story of, so when you're, especially if you're like a single mom and women, I've watched women get together. Hey, I'm working these days. Can you keep my child this day and I'll keep your child? We do so many things positive that how we work together and support each other, and how it makes so much of a difference. And it also, kids are watching us. They watch how we interact with other people, the things that we do. And those actions help them to be better people. And like you said, with some of the cultural things that we're kind of instilled with. I mean, I've had things. I mean, my father told me, "Listen, you're black. You're supposed to do this, this, and this." Am I? Am I? And some we just fall in line. And sometimes you need to know that it's okay to step outside of that boundary. It's okay just because there's a door there sometimes that our families put there that really isn't real. It's just kind of imaginary. It's just an imaginary block that we put on ourselves. And you're saying open that door, step through it, break through the cultural barrier, and step through. The water's come on in, the water's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, this has been so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And you guys, Sheena's going to put in the comments after the show, she's going to put in the comments all of her information, how you can get her book, how you can pre-order Tao of Self-Confidence book, including Asian Women Who Boss Up. And my book will be in there too. So click that link. The pre-order. And so we are, so happy. She's going to tell us right now how to connect with her. And then she's also going to put the information in the chat.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks again, Yolanda. So for anyone who wants to connect with me, you can check out my website, sheenayapchen.com or thetaoofselfconfidence.com. For the upcoming book, The Tao of Self-Confidence, you can pre-order the book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart, and other book retailers. And for Asian Women Who Boss Up, you can also just buy a copy through my websites. If you forgot anything that I mentioned, just Google my name, Sheena Yapchan, because I'm literally the only Sheena Yapchan on the internet.
Okay, listen, that's some excellent branding right there. You're the only one. Not many of us can say, I never knew how many Yolanda Taylors were out there. I'm like, someone said, I was trying to find you. I'm like, really? There's that many? All right. So you're definitely blessed to have that. You guys know where you can find me. I'm Yo Taylor at thestyletable.com. I'm on Facebook at the Style Table LLC. I am on Instagram and LinkedIn. You guys can also please go on YouTube where you can see this show, this interview with Sheena, with many other fabulous women who talk about their business, their passions, their hobbies, their organizations, and their style. So again, please subscribe to At the Style Table on YouTube. I appreciate you all, and I will see you all next week on Monday at 7 p.m. Bye, you guys.
Bye.